Hi everyone. Can everyone hear me all good? Is my voice clear? Okay, awesome. Feel free to chat me on the left side of the screen. So if there's questions or if you have any questions, feel free to ask me that side. Okay, so I guess we'll start the tour. So good morning everyone. Rather good evening for some of our guests. I'm Jean Sanchez, PayrollHero's implementation specialist. I'm here to give you a virtual tour of our system. So before we start, a couple of housekeeping items. If you have any questions, you can type it on the chat box on the left side of the screen. I'll answer each of your questions after the tour. Is that good? So just to double check, everyone can see the getting started live tour screen, right? Okay, I see shadows chatting. Okay, how about everyone? Is everyone got it? So hope everyone sees the screen. Okay, so let's start. Start off, Payroll Hero is a consumer-friendly time, attendance, scheduling, and payroll app that is in the cloud built for web and mobile. So what makes us different from our competitors is that we use our employee's face as our primary biometric to avoid body punching and ghost employees. These clock and ticks are further given a mood rating to establish an array of business intelligence between productivity and mood. Here's what we're going to tackle today. I'll be starting from how to clock in and out, then checking and resolving attendance, then creating shifts and schedules, and lastly, payroll. So how to log into your payroll with your dashboard, then how to clock in and out using the My Clock web. So Payroll Hero is currently designed and optimized for Google Chrome, though it works on other browsers. The interface may not be that clean. We highly recommend to use the latest version of Google Chrome. So how to log into your Payroll Hero account. On the address bar, type in your company name .payrollhero.com. So that's the start. To log in, you could either use your email, username, phone number, if probably some employees doesn't have an email, or the employee ID, then log in with your password. So this is what the dashboard looks like. So how to log in using the web version. So this is the dashboard. Click on the My Clock tab. Then click on the My Clock. Then you have to activate the flash play to use the webcam. Click on the Allow button. And then basically click on the Clock In button on the right side. So on the left side of the screen, you would see the schedules along with the clock in time and the minutes you were late, if for example the employee is late, and the time that you will need to leave the office. So how many hours would you be leaving in the office? So for scheduling, these are the topics that will be discussed. How to add shifts, how to add schedule templates, assign schedule to an employee, and how to schedule a paid or unpaid leave. So an example of shifts that we'll be adding is an 8 a.m. shift. For example, there are a lot of shifts, right? Morning, afternoon, evening shift. So click on the settings. Then click on the shifts. So to add a new shift, just click on add a new shift here. And then, so here's the overview of the shift details. So basically, you can add different shift category names. So it can either be morning, afternoon, or evening shift. Depends on what your company needs. So you can add you need to add the shift details like the start and end times as well as the breaks. So we could input a specific 1 hour unpaid break on the system. This way, so normally a regular shift has a 1 hour unpaid break, right? So you could just automatically, the system would automatically deduct 1 hour out of the whole 9 hour shift. So the total work hours is just 8 hours. Then create the shift. So here are the details, so unpaid. So how to add schedule templates. So schedule template is kind of like a weekly template of all the shifts that for a single employee. So to add the schedule template, we need to add it under the settings as well. And click on schedule templates. Add a new schedule template. And then, so as you can see here, these are the days of the week. And then you can basically select the shifts that you need. Again, you could set up category name for the shift, like a 10-hour shift, an 8-hour shift, and then click on create. So now that you have schedules and shifts that you have, now to create a schedule to the employee's profile. So click on the employees tab. The employees tab, this is where you would see all the items for the employees. So click on the employee list, you would see all the list of your employees, basically. And then you could search for the employee, for the inactive employee names on the employee list. So the employee profile looks something like this. Basically, to add the schedule, click on the schedules tab, and then add a new schedule. So it's kind of, all of them are kind of like self-explanatory. Yeah, so to add a new schedule, this is for a specific period of time. Like if you could set up a schedule for like a week or rather a month, and then another, it's possible that a certain schedule can be done, or a different schedule is set for the next month, right? So you could, for the schedule type, you could either choose the template that we created at the back end on the settings, right? So this is settings, or you could customize it per day. So you could click on custom schedule under the schedule type as well. Then select the different shifts per day. So for example, that if, for example, the employee requested for a leave, right, the next day, we have here the scheduled calendar where you could customize a specific schedule for a specific day. So click on the day that you want to change on the schedule. So here are the items that will pop up once you click it. So it's either custom schedule, wherein that's where you can edit the shift for an employee on the next day. And then you can either choose day off, paid or unpaid. So if you need to like select 2 or more leaves or paid leaves or unpaid paid leaves, just click on the checkbox and then select the actions tab, and then click on the day off, and it will automatically it. Okay. So another thing that we have on the system is the analytics. So analytics is where all the reports are. You can actually see the company status already from here. So to go to the analytics page, click on the analytics tab. So this is the attendance stats for your current. It's actually current stats for your company based on the company as well. So this will show how many minutes that you clock in early, late, absent compared to the average performance of the employees in your company. So the stats are shown in a line graph here. Another analytics that we have is the perfect attendance and the early birds. So as you can see here, the analytics could easily know, rather the employees would know if who among their colleagues are clocking in, clocking out perfectly. So we have the attendance, perfect attendance here, as well as who's the employee who's always early. So you'll see employees who achieve perfect attendance for the month, um, as well as the early birds. So other than that, we also have the lates and absences. So if an employee sees this analytics, so for them, it's also a challenge not to be late, or else they would see themselves on the analytics page here. So this Jordan has always late for 5 days consecutively, or this employee for the absence is always late for absent. It's always absent, rather. So another analytics we have is weather and commute distance. So for the weather, this we actually grab the data from Yahoo Weather. So this shows the correlation between commute distance and the weather. It will give you an idea if the weather affects the employee's distance from the work site. This is very useful for recruiting employees. So you would rather like to recruit employees near the office so that even if it's raining, knowing that there isn't any flood and all in the area where your office is, they can still come to work, right? So for our HR, we have a couple of items that we have on the system as well, like the database. I'll show it to you in the next few slides. So how to add employees. So we have 3 ways in adding it: the wizard, the manually add, and then the mass import. So the manually adding an employee on the system is basically just adding all the details you need for that employee. Um, it's the same way as what the wizard is, but the difference between the wizard and the manually add is that the wizard already has the schedules, the positions, all those different types. For the manual, you would need to go to each of the position, or rather each of the employee's position, and add it manually per page. So for onboarding, for our onboarding clients, if you have like 50 or 200 employees to add on the system, we can help you add it just by filling up a specific spreadsheet, like what we have here. And then we'll basically help you import it. So once you have filled up all those items, send it to us at support@payrollhero.com, and then we'll be importing those employees for you. So how to set up requirements. So as you can see on the dashboard that we have here, you could see the employee would see the requirements already, like the barangay clearance, like their CVs or any kind of clearance that they would need or the company needs. So as an employee, I could see that I have a lot of stuff that I need to give to the HR, right? So before in adding these requirements, you can add it under settings. If you go to the requirements page, you would see you can add our requirements here and then basically name the requirements. So you can label it, add a description about it, like add the criteria, like what do you need, if it's like a PDF or a specific file if you need. You could also set up statuses for it, like those who would see that requirement are only active employees or even the specific employee types. So that requirement is only for like probationary employees or part-time employees. So we can also have that. Other than that, you could require an attachment, and so as you can see here on the employee profile, so once the employee would submit a hard copy of that requirement, so the HR can scan it and then upload it on the employee's profile. So it's actually a database. So no more hard copies of the different requirements that you need. It's all in the cloud. So it saves Mother Earth. So so the attendance review. So now that employees have started clocking in and clocking out, right? As an HR, you would wanted to see the attendance, right? To review the attendance of your employees if they're actually clocking in and clocking out correctly, right? So to go there, click on the Employees tab, and then click on the Attendance page. So as you can see here, this is what the attendance page would look like. What you really wanted to see on this page is everything should be perfect, since you don't want to have any issues like lates, right, or any other issues like OT. So if there are cases, and I'm sure there will be, you would need to resolve each of the attendance statuses. So red would mean it's missing clock in or missing clock out, meaning that they did not clock in on their payroll hero account. And then if there were late, so you need to solve it. Yellow is either in early or in late. Orange would mean overtime or undertime. So to resolve it, just click on the day. So this is what you would see on the attendance page. So each of these items needs to be resolved. So for in late, you would need to see, just basically click on the resolve button. So on this page, you'd see the schedules, the employee schedules, as well as the start and end time, what time did they clock in and clock out, and then the total hours that they work. So at the bottom of the page is where the perfect attendance are. So these are the employees who have clock in and clock out correctly. So you don't need to do anything with that. So what just resolve all the attendance issues. So to resolve it, just click on the resolve button and it would open a pop-up. So how to resolve missing clock in and clock out? So employee shift, for example, is 4 to 10 p.m. So as you can see, so you have three choices here. Either click on yes, he was absent. So you could, that means that he was really absent that day. If you click on that and then submit it, that employee won't get paid that day. So apply grace, set his clock in time to his scheduled time. This means that it would automatically revert that to their schedule. So other than that, you could also click on or type in the specific time that they really clocked in. So for example, he just forgot to clock in. You can just type in a time, a specific time for that. So the reason why there's we need to add a specific reason for whatever you chose is because it would become like a history trail in other HR or other admins could see the reasons why did you opt to choose to make this employee absent or late or reverting it to schedule. So how to resolve missing clock in now? And then, so how to resolve late? As you can see, for example, Jonathan here said that. So, for example, if an employee is actually late, a pop-up notification would show up saying or asking him, why is he late? If he typed in a specific reason, the HR would be able to see that reason on the attendance page. So it can either read that's okay, submit as is, or revert it to scheduled, meaning that even though he is late, you can revert it back to the schedule. That would remove the late clock in. So how to resolve overtime? So this is actually, the system also knows that if an employee exceeded their scheduled time, it would show an overtime resolution here, wherein you could either approve it or revert it to scheduled, meaning that it's not approved. So once everything is perfect, what the next step would be sending it to payroll. So basically, if everything is perfect, you could send these employees to payroll. Once it's sent to payroll, the hours would be sent and it would say published to payroll. So meaning it is ready for payroll generation. So now we go to the payroll part. So adding enrollments, adding payments, and how to add and generate payroll. So how to add enrollments? So enrollments are used to enroll employees into a specific recurring credit or debit for a bank. So it's actually just a start date for a specific kind of payment. So The enrollments can be added globally settings, and then it can also be added to the employees. So how to add a specific enrollment? So enrollments can actually be like the government deductions that you have. So for example, click on the bank enrollment, then how to add enrollments. As you can see here, here in the Philippines, we have the PhilHealth, social insurance, SSS, pag-ibig, and then there's the tax, the VIR. So you could specifically set up a specific kind of enrollment, and then the activation delay, when would it start? Would it start on a specific, like after 30 days, or on specific day that the employee starts working? So now that the enrollment is set up on the settings, we need to set it up on the employee's profile. This way, the system knows when that kind of payment will start. So for example, here to add, so on the employee's profile, you can click on the enrollments page. Click on add a new enrollment. And then you would see here the different types of enrollments you have. So now that the enrollment is set up on that employee, now we add the payment. So payment is where we set up recurring credits and debits that can be applied to a bank and employee payrolls. These are benefits, deductions, advances, adjustments, or so basically you can create any type of payment you need for your company. So you need to add the payment on the global settings first, and then later for the employees settings. So setting it globally, so basically anything you would edit or add on the settings is set to all employees. So under the payments page here, you would need to add like for a specific kind of payment. So this is like how we add a payment for PhilHealth. So it's like a health insurance here in the Philippines. So it's basically answering a form. So I want to debit Philippine PhilHealth deduction from base from the employee. So basically it's something like that, right? So I'll just show each of the other items of each drop downs. So you see what the back end would look like. So for the debit, you could either choose a credit. A credit can be a bonus or allowances. So you could do that. For the PhilHealth deduction, you need to set up like all the different Philippine government deductions like pag-ibig, SSS, and PhilHealth as well. If it's in a different kind of payment, like a specific, you can also set a specific amount. Like for example, a bonus or allowance of 5,000, you could set it up something like that. So you can pay this kind of payment either per workday, per payroll, or monthly on the first payroll, or rather monthly on the last payroll. So the system is quite customizable on how you would like to pay your employees. So you can either set a specific date on when that kind of payment can be paid out. And then the details for the deduction. This is the employee type, the enrollments that we've set up a while ago. So you need to select a specific enrollment. This way, the system knows when would it start deducting or paying the employee. So this amount is debited from either net, tax, or base pay. You could set it up like that. So once everything's set up, you can also click on the name of the name of the payment, and then select update. And basically, that's how you create a payment, a specific payment for a specific employee or for all employees. So after adding all payments on the global settings, enable the payment on the employee settings. So it's kind of like the same interface, but the difference is this is the employee profile. As you can see here, click on the payments. There's two types of payments. So the ones that we set up on the back end, on the settings, is the account payment. So everyone or any kind of payments that we've set under the settings goes to all employees. So that's usually the health insurance, SSS, all those kind of payments. And usually the employee payments, like if there is an adjustment for the employee's pay or a specific bonus that one employee usually gets every month, you could set it up under their own profile. So they can click on, it's the same settings that we have on the back end, but on the employee profile, it just shows for that single employee only. So as you can see here, this is for all employees and this is for specific employees. So the different icons that we have under it is one to lock or to disable that kind of payment. You can do that, or you can override the account payment. Yeah, and then you can revoke, meaning that that employee would not be paid for that kind of pay. So now that you've set up the payments for that employee, for a specific employee, now we generate payroll. So to generate payroll, you can go to that employee profile, click on payments, or rather payroll, sorry, and then add the new payroll. So here you could set up a specific pay period as well. Basically click on create, and it would create a specific pay period once the employee. So what you need to do before you generate it, make sure that the attendance is all perfect and is published to payroll, and then all the payments are there, like yes, the government deductions, any kind of adjustments, bonuses or allowances added first on the employee profile, and then basically click on generate to show the payroll. So once you click on the generate icon, the payroll will be generated, as you can see here. And then you could basically lock that payroll. So lock means that the employee can view the payroll. So once you lock it, and that if you go to the dashboard, the employee would be able to see the pay stub or the pay slip from there. So that basically concludes the payroll part. Other ways for clocking in and clocking out, other than the My Clock Web, is that we have the iPhone and iPad apps. So how to log in to My Clock and Time Clock app? For the My Clock, this is for iPhone. You can basically set or type in your company name, the username, the logins, and then the password. So you'll see your schedule for the day on the top as well. You may swipe it to the left or right to view your schedule for the next day. So on the time clock login page, it will appear. So you could type in your account name as well, username. And then, so this is what it would look like for the time clock. The employee would basically select the genders first before logging in. So how to clock in using the time clock? So the time clock is actually, an admin would need to log into it so that other employees can just basically clock in and clock out. So you would first need to select the genders, if you're a male or a female, and then select the last name, the first letter of your last name, and then tap their photo icon. So slide the clock in icon to clock in. So basically it would look something like this. Notification window will pop up to let you know that you've clocked in successfully. So how to clock in using the time clock, or rather the My Clock, sorry. So basically slide it, and the clock in camera will open, and once you're ready, face the camera and tap the camera icon, and there will be a timer before the camera starts. So we'll be also having kind of props like mustaches or glasses for it. Okay, so a notification above will state how early or late you clock in. Then tap done to confirm you clock in. So we will then be back to the home page. So we have different types of support. So we have a live chat. If you have your own account, you can basically click on the support tab. And then we have a knowledge base, which is support.payrollhero.com. we have different articles for that. And then you can also email us to support@payrollhero.com. And then we also give out webinars like this probably every week, and then boot camps as well every 2 weeks. So basically, we'll let you know on our Facebook page. Um, yeah. So you can contact us, our Manila office here in Taguig, and we also have a Whistler office, yeah, in Canada. And if you have any more questions or would like to know more, you can email Steven Jagger, sjagger@payrollhero.com. So basically that concludes our tour. So if you have questions, it would start now. You could type in your questions on the chat box, lower side of the chat box, and I will answer it. So Q&A starts now. And feel free to ask questions. Oh, by the way, we'll be sending handouts later at, or rather at the end of the meeting, so that you could also check on how to use it. Okay, so I've got this question. Does the geolocating service track the employee you have? Okay, so that question, good question. Thank you for that. So we use the geolocating, we use it for the mic clock, or rather the time clock. So we need first to set a specific work site for your company so that it would track where that employee is. You have okay, let me just read the questions that coming in. Okay. Record. Okay. I think let's gather. So for the geolocating, we can first set up the work site. So we add the specific, so on the Google Chrome, we add a specific address for it. So you could either choose a longitude, latitude, or a specific address on it. And then once that's done, basically it's currently just used for the My Clock and Time Clock, which is for the iOS apps. It doesn't really work yet for the web version. It's just on the My Clock and Time Clock. So once the employee clocks in, and then the work site would, and then once the employee clocks in, and if, for example, if they're not on that specific location, an email would be sent to the HR. So currently, what we're doing is just we're gathering the geolocation. But what we have right now is the IP address as well. So we can set a specific IP address for a specific office, and if an employee tries to clock in outside that office, an email would be sent out, yeah, to the HR. So I have another question here regarding the HR database. So let me just read it. It's kind of long. I noticed that other than the payroll facility, you have an HR database facility as well. I'd like to ask if you also have a facility to record performance evaluations. Do you have a facility to monitor performance monitoring, sanction, and salary history? Good question. Thank you, Mara, for that. Yes, we do have, for the salary history, we have that as well. So you could set up a specific compensation to a specific employee. And then if there are any changes or rather an increase, you could add it on the system. However, for the performance monitoring sanctions, I'm guessing this is, for example, if they're late or absent, is that correct? Yeah. So for the performance monitoring sanctions, we currently don't have an interface for that. However, if um, is it something like, sorry, I don't think we have that yet, but is it something like deducting as payment or deducting something for the employee? Uh, the geolocating inside oh yeah, for Gilberto from US, the geotech inside geofence. Yep, that's correct. So we can also set up a specific perimeter for the geolocating, so that if they go out of that fence, um, HR would know, or a notification would be sent out. So that was actually on the move to check several sites where they clock in, if they clock in. Yep, it will. So we need to set up the specific work site or the different site that employee usually comes in, so that if they go out of it or they clock in before they're on that specific location, you would know. So it's usually currently just for iPhone and iPad apps. Okay. Performance evaluations. Currently, for the performance evaluations, what we only have right now is um, the analytics that you've seen, the late. Sorry, I'll just go to that slide. So we have the late, absent, and the perfect um, analytics. Let me just show you here. Sorry, got a long slide there. So currently, this is the evaluations or how we monitor attendance. There is a perfect attendance early bird as well as lates and absences. From here, you could see, yeah, among employees who are late and absent. Okay, the 7-day period evaluation. Oh, okay. Roberto, you may want to email Stephen Jagger, sjagger at payrollhero.com for the trial period, so that yeah, he could help you start it up. Okay, thank you for the questions. Um, any other questions? We actually are super early. I never thought that I'll be finishing it before an hour. So yeah, I'm here till 11. Feel free to ask questions. This is the part where you talk about the mood recognition. Yeah. So the mood recognition isn't actually, there isn't any actual interface yet. But what we do is when an employee tries to clock in and out, it would you would see on our back end, um, the system would know like their moods, if they're happy or not. So currently we're just trying to track down or compile different kinds of moods on the back end, and then we'll be sending out like a report as well. So let me just quickly show you there. So it's something like this. So the mood categorization. So if the employee is like happy or normal, or sad, the system knows if they're like super bored. So the reason why we track the mood categorization is that you would see from your employees cases in a certain period of time if they're like still happy with their work or not. So it can either be if they're always smiling, having a good mood, and all that. So you would see the differences. So the mood categorization, this is actually just in the back end. So we'll actually be sending just reports about it. Yep, it detects it. It's based on the clock in photos. Okay. Thank you, Roberto. 90%, 90%. Oh, so for Mara's question regarding the performance, currently right now what we have is the analytics, but we're also planning to include more. So that is a good suggestion. I would pass it along with our developers. But currently, we don't have yet a viewer to view the performances. However, it's all in the system. So basically, it's just a matter of showing it to you guys. But the system already compiles all that. Yes, the system is very customizable. Yeah, so you can basically just set it up. Anyway, if on the onboarding process, I'll be there to help you set it up, like setting up all different government deductions and all that. So basically, we'll be handing you out your control panel once everything is set up. So we'll help you from importing employees down to setting up payroll and all, and actually clocking in and clocking out. So usually we have this 1 month period of parallel, rather a parallel run between what you currently have for your company and with Payroll Hero. This way we could see if there's anything that needs to be changed. Like, for example, it's usually the payroll computations. Very functionally up and we can do this. Good question, Gilberto. So right now we're really focused on the Philippines. However, our time attendance scheduling is fully working in the US. Um, there is so instead of doing the payroll, so what we do for our US clients is they can export a specific attendance. Um, Let me show you here quickly how it would look like. I mean, exporting the attendance. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have the slide yet. But yeah, you can export attendance wherein you could see like the clock in and clock out, the total hours. Yeah, basically all the overtime hours and the lates as well. So let me try to see if I could share you my screen. Okay, so here. So let me just set this up. So our export attendance. So let me. I think it's loading. Right. Yeah, it's a loading. So let me know once it's loaded. But yeah, so we could export the employees' attendance, like their schedules, where it includes all their schedules, even export it for a specific time periods, like for 1 whole month, and you could see all the employees clock in and clock out, yeah, in the total time. So basically, that's what our US clients are doing right now. I could ask Steve or our developers when are they planning to have all the functionalities for the US, like including the payroll part. But yeah. Robert. Oh, sorry, Roberto. So, feel free to ask questions, guys. Don't be shy. There, there, great. So the attendance looks something like this. So you could see actually it's kind of like colorful as well because the system knows like when the holiday is. It would highlight it as well as the paid and paid day offs and unpaid day offs. So the system would highlight it as well. Yeah, so it's pretty good info for you guys. So you could basically just see the total hours the employee works as well. So the late total, even it's by the second, um, as well as the overtime hours. So currently, that's the export attendance that we have. Um, yeah, so we still have 15 more minutes. Because if we just show you a demo, so it's probably still loading. Some of you are still loading it, and showing you a demo account that we have here. So basically, this is what the real account looks like. We have the support tab here, and you can basically ask questions. Yeah, so basically, if you have questions like for the iPad, you could search for it, and we have all these articles ready for you. All the step-by-step instructions is already at our support site, which is support.payrollhero.com. So you could see all the articles actually currently right now. So you could also actually create tags here for a different department. Could be like for HR and then one for marketing. So the export employee attendance is here actually. Employee attendance, basically we just select specific employees, export the attendance, select a specific period, and then it can be downloaded as an Excel file actually. So let us show here the my clock. So basically all the clock in and out photos can be seen here. Here. So what some of our clients are already doing is just basically once they clock in, they drag the photo to their desktop and then post it to Facebook and Twitter. That's why we have this sharing tool as well. But yeah, we're still gathering info and if people would really like something like that. But yeah, but from our observations, they're already posting their clock in and out photos in Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, so each employee also has this schedule calendar. So you need to see their schedules as well as the pay days when the pay days are. You can even set up different notes for the company as well. For example, it was Gres's birthday, one of the employees' birthday. So you can set up, yeah, company events, something like that, so that the employee would know. So we have something like that as well. Yeah. So for the request vacation time that we see here as well, so the system has a third-party embed form wherein you could just add different types of surveys or forms for the company to use. So what we have here on the flag wall, this is actually where you could see. So it happens that, for example, an employee tries to clock in using a um, different face or different using a different employee account. This is where it gets sent. So all the flagged photos um, is seen here on the flag wall. So you can see unclear match. And Harry Potter's photo has been flagged as unclear match, meaning that is not Harry Potter. So yeah, so even group shots, if the system can see the actual face, um, yeah, it would be tagged as flag, and then you can see it here. So yeah. So just 5 more minutes, I guess. Thank you guys for coming to our first live tour. I think we'll be having this every week, but yeah, we'll let you know. Um, yeah, it's a pleasure to let you know about how our system works. Email us support@payrollhero.com. Like us on Facebook, Twitter. It's at PayrollHero. Uh, yeah. So thank you guys for coming.